One other nugget that we want to make sure we discuss is making sure that we're not using certain techniques that are what we call digit dependent. What does that mean? This is what it means. If you was here and you've only shot your firearm with your index finger, what happens in a fight when you break this finger or dislocate it? Will you be able to use your middle finger or your ring finger? Or let's change it a little bit. Let's say your right hand got shot or incapacitated. Maybe you'll have to shoot this with your left hand. Have you done that? Most people have only practiced with two hands on their firearm. So I challenge you to make sure you practice with your right hand and your left hand. When you pull the slide back on the firearm, we don't want to use the slingshot approach. A lot of people use slingshot. But what happens if this thumb is broken, dislocated, or out of the game? All right, you won't be able to pull the slide to the rear. So I always use all four fingers and the palm of my hand. That way if my thumb is broken, I can still engage the slide. If my pinky is broken, I can still operate the slide. I never want to use a technique that is digit dependent, one digit dependent that is. So the next thing we want to talk about is how do we reload and make the slide go forward. Let me show you some common pitfalls that I see at the range. Number one, when the firearm is in a slide lock, people put the magazine in, then they hit this. That may work most of the time. However, sometimes that might not be available if your thumb is incapacitated. So the other thing we want to make sure we discuss and we at least talk about today is understanding that when you do this, you're not actually getting full compression of that spring. You're losing some power. Let me show you. If I go back a little bit more, see how much that went back? Then release, there was a lot more power there. When we come to slide lock and we only come here, we're losing about that much travel. That's pretty important, especially when we want to make sure this slide hits that cartridge hard enough into the chamber to make sure it's properly seated inside that firearm.